Jewelry designers, are you ready to stop guessing and to start growing? Introducing Laying the Foundation, the proven program that takes your jewelry business from just scraping by to thriving with consistent, repeatable sales. Inside this program, you're going to master my signature methodology, the Desire Brand Effect, to attract high-quality customers and grow to 5-figure months with repeat, loyal buyers. Now, if you're wondering what kind of results you can get, here are a couple of real-life results from some of my students. One of my students went from barely making ends meet to 10 plus K months in less than a year. In fact, she had 2 in a row, which was really awesome. Another one landed her dream department store and got a feature on the Today Show, which continued to get her international sales for a very long time after the show. And a busy mom was able to crush it this year. She had a goal to do over $100,000. She ended up the year with $130,000, which was a significant win for her as a part-time jewelry designer and a full-time mom. So if you're wondering how this program can work for you, head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/LTF. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/LTF. And I'll also have links in the show notes. Welcome to Thrive by Design, the podcast for ambitious, independent jewelry brands looking to profit from their products. Get ready to make more and sell more doing what you love without spending every single waking minute doing it. Hey, and if you're a creative, fashion, or product-based business, I want to welcome you to the show. I'll be dropping big tips on launching, growing, and scaling your business so you can spend more of your precious time using your creativity to make money. You ready? All right, let's do this. Hey, welcome back to Thrive by Design. I wanted to do this encore presentation of a podcast that I recorded several months ago. And there's a very specific reason why I wanted to repost this podcast. Laura sent me a text message at the beginning of the year, last year, saying that her sales were up 700% over the previous year, which is going to talk about in this episode, and then the other growth. And then at the beginning of this year, she sent me a text telling me that her sales had doubled over last year. So she just keeps growing. And the reason why I want to share this is because I know a lot of you feel overwhelmed with your jewelry business journey. And I know 2024, for a lot of people, they felt really stuck and they felt like they couldn't figure out how to get more people engaging with their content. And it became hard, like growing their business became hard. And so I get that. I feel you. And I wanted to repost this episode because Laura's story is so inspiring that I know you will be inspired by it too. And she goes through the arc of how she lost her husband and then lost her studio and then basically lost everything and had to figure out a different way because she's in her late 60s. And being in that spot, she wasn't able to do all the shows that she had been doing before, and it became quite challenging for her. So she needed to find a different way. So let's dive into this episode with Laura, this encore presentation. I hope you enjoy it. She is just a badass. Laura is a jewelry artist, or an artist, painter turned jewelry artist who's been designing jewelry by accident for over 30 years. She's an incredible designer, incredible maker, and an incredible, inspiring, hilarious human being. You're going to love this episode. She walks us through her journey of starting over and going through a reinvention process and also just finding the joy back in jewelry making again. So let's dive into this episode with Laura. Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, everyone. I have a very special guest here today on the show, Laura Stamper of Laura Stamper Designs. Laura, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me, Tracy.
Well, I am really excited to have you here for a very specific reason. Earlier this year, you sent me this long-ass DM sharing a little bit more about your experience in our programs, and you are hilarious because some of the things that you said in that DM were like hilarious, but you're basically like, I am tech challenged. I don't know how I would have done any of this without you. And my business has grown significantly, especially in light of all these life changes that I've had. And I would love to just share with you what happened. So number one, I just want to thank you for sharing with me because I love hearing from our students. So if you're listening to this and you want to share something with me, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We love hearing it.
Don't be shy. It's awesome.
Don't be shy. I'm kind. I won't bite your head off. And also, I love talking to students who have gotten a great result. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit more about your business and your story.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, so I always like to start these out with understanding kind of like what was your journey into jewelry design?
I am a painter,
Okay.
actually, a portrait painter. And in 1991, I began working in clay in the 80s and be doing sculptures. And in 1991, I lost my real job because I'm kind of unemployable. And my husband was my biggest cheerleader, and he said, "You're such a talented artist, go for art." I wanted to apply for an art show, but I knew I wouldn't have enough time to get paintings together. So I just basically drew little pictures on pieces of porcelain, glazed them, glued earrings backs to them, applied for an art show, and I got in, and that was in 1991. So then, I went about as far as I could go with that in about a year, and then I began sculpting in the porcelain and doing these very elaborate sculptures. And then in 95, I took a metalsmith course from a master goldsmith and began to incorporate the porcelain pieces into metal pieces, very
Okay.
sculptural, three-dimensional, and things changed for me. I was doing a lot of art shows. I had a snail mail list all over the nation. And in 2017, the rug got completely pulled out from under me. My computer crashed. I lost my emails. And my husband was diagnosed with cancer on November 14th and died on November 15th. And I lost my home
Oh
and my
my gosh,
studio. And
overnight?
my husband, all by January of that year, was all gone. Yeah.
And you lost your studio, you said.
Yep, lost my studio because the studio, he had lopped off the top. He was such a great cheerleader. He had lopped off the top of the garage. He had a construction business, and he built me this studio that was huge that would make anybody drool. But I couldn't keep the house and lost it all. So it was time to redo things, had to sell the ceramic kilns. Took a crash course in enameling in 2018. And I realized I'm just, doing shows became more and more and more difficult. And COVID happened, and I realized, I'm just getting kind of old for this nonsense. And I took the boot camp with you guys first in the fall of last year, followed by train your customer, and then followed by laying the foundation. Man, it just, everything has changed. Everything has changed for me, and I cannot believe what has happened in my business in, 8 months?
It's crazy.
It is. My first quarter of this year compared to the first quarter of last year was up 700%.
Oh my gosh.
And this is sales on my website, which, by the way, I didn't even have before. Well, I did, but it was kind of limping along like this, and you couldn't really do anything with it. Second quarter, I was up 350%, and
Wow.
last month I was up 400%. So, I mean, it's insane.
Mic drop. There we go. This podcast can be over. Just kidding. Well, first of all, just want to say I'm really sorry for your loss because that must have been so hard. I understand, like you've heard my story probably before, but when
Yeah.
I lost my mom, saw her 30 minutes before we got the phone call saying that she was going to die, and she didn't look like she was going to die. It was like very shocking, and so I can really empathize with you on how tragic it is when you lose someone in your life so quickly.
Mhm.
Without any warning. There's no time to say goodbye or any of that. So I am really sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a very challenging few years. I mean, we had 39 years together.
Wow.
And, having your identity tied up as a partnership and having raised kids, it was huge. And then to lose the house and my studio, my ceramic kilns, all of that, my slab roller, everything, all my tools, it just didn't have to start
That
over.
must have been really hard.
It was very hard. I hate that saying, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But, we are really resilient beings.
Yes, this is true.
And I think it's really important to not allow myself to be defined by the painful events in my life, but to, utilize those painful events to, I guess I sought out more support than I ever had before. He was my biggest cheerleader, and I had to find other ways.
So hard. Well, we're your biggest cheerleader now.
I know you guys are my floaties. I call you my floaties now because I jump into the deep end of the pool with all the stuff that I have no idea what I'm doing, and you all are my floaties.
I love it. Well, Laura is such an inspiration for so many reasons. I think a lot of people who are, and myself included, past the age of 50, we're kind of a little bit later in life and creeping along. We have a different set of challenges because we didn't grow up with all this technology. We didn't grow up with understanding just like innately how to use social media. I'm like, here on Instagram, I was like verifying my account and I verified the wrong account. Now I'm like, how do I turn it back? It's like the challenge is real. Like maybe it's different degrees, but at the same time, it can be intimidating, especially when you come from a background of having in-person interactions to try to pivot to selling online in some of these other ways. And so my question for you, I have so many questions for you, but my first question for you regarding that was like, how did you overcome the fear of like actually just saying, okay, I'm going to take this program. It's going to teach me how to sell online. And I'm definitely tech challenged, but I'm going to just figure it out along the way.
I had my website for 2 years before I jumped into this. And prior to that, in 2 years, I'd had exactly 2 sales. And yeah, right? And I knew, I'm bright enough to know that it's all going to be online.
Yeah.
And my work is very unusual, and I was very afraid because I don't do things that I repeat. And it's unusual and it's not inexpensive. And I was scared because who's going to want to buy this from me if they've never seen it in person, kind of a thing. And I knew nothing about what to do next. And I was in Flourish and Thrive back the very first year that you did it. And I had got some wholesale accounts and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I know enough to know that I get stuck on stupid. And that's okay. I don't have to know everything because I think I'm dyslexic. I still don't, I'm 67 years old and I don't know left from right. I kid you not. I'm
here with you, trust me.
I'm clumsy. I have all of these weird quirks about me, and I don't feel bad about it. It's just like it's part of the package. I'm a real creative person, but I'm also kind of a mess in some ways, and that's okay. And so I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do this on my own, and I was going to need a lot of help and a lot of hand holding and a lot of, what button do I push? Where is that button? I can't find that button. What am I supposed to do once I find it? I knew that was the level that I was at. And because my experience so many years ago was so favorable and I've been following you all these years, I just thought, you know what? I'm tired of being stuck on stupid. I'm just going to put it all out there and let, these people that know what they're doing walk me through the process. And it's been so much fun. It has been so much fun. And your coaches, they all deserve a raise.
Yes, they do. They all deserve a raise. We're going to be giving them raises. Trust me. We're working on that right now as we grow the community. So I wanted to share something funny with you because I think you'll appreciate it. I'm also dyslexic. I'm mildly dyslexic, so it's not super severe. Some members of my family are more severely dyslexic. But the freeway was closed today. And so I started getting on the path to go on the freeway ramp. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to turn around and just make a right on the street that I was just on and like sneak through until I realized I was going the wrong way and almost got in a head-on collision on my way over here. I'm just like,
I love that.
What are you doing? Not knowing left and right. Like it's like a real thing. It's not.
Totally get that.
So people don't, I've never done that before. And thank God I'm like an okay driver, but I think sometimes people don't understand some of the challenges that dyslexic people have because it's like, they're very weird. It's like, it's not just that you can't read. It's like, you're thinking right, but you say left. And then like the whole thing is like, I think I say things all the time that I don't even come out of my mouth.
Yes, I'm totally there with you every inch of the way. My family has divvied it. My kids, when they got a little older, started calling anytime somebody fucks up, they called it going to Laura Land. So whenever anybody in my entire extended family screws something up, they just say, I was in Laura Land. I'm back now.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Gotta
So
laugh
funny.
at it, right?
So let's talk about some of your wholesale accounts. Where are they selling your products?
Artful Home, I had wanted to be on Artful Home for a lot of years, but again, the application process to even do that, I just couldn't figure it out. And I was at the ACC show, and one of the buyers from Artful Home approached me and said, have you ever thought of putting your work on Artful Home? And I said, well, I've started an application, but I can't figure it out. And then this is all at the same time that this is going on when I'm starting to do things with you guys. And so I got into Artful Home in March of last year. And I'm in a couple of galleries, and one of the galleries I'm in is a collective, and I do really well there. And a couple of the galleries I was in now have closed. So I am looking for new galleries. The way that I picked those up before was when I was traveling all over the nation doing art shows. Gallery owners would come in and they'd say, "Do you wholesale?" And so that's how I picked some of those up. And then when I took the course with you many years ago, picked up a few more.
Okay, great. Do you enjoy wholesale?
I do. And people get freaked out about, you're only getting half of what you would make at a show. But, and when I would look at the shows, the show fee,
Yeah.
and the travel fee. And the other thing I think people don't keep in mind is how much do I pay myself an hour when I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
And if you add up all the hours it takes for you to get to the show, set up for the show, do the show, tear down for the show, and come home, how many hours of that could you actually be doing what you love doing and what you might even be better at than driving a car, right?
Right.
I love it. And in the laying the foundation this last time, I went through with I can't even remember, all the coaches are so great. But I went through my pricing because I hadn't gone through
Mhm.
that for
With
a very
Lisa.
long
Lisa
time.
does the pricing with you.
Yeah, and it
Because you're in
was
the VIP section. The
yes, I
VIP.
was a VIP. So worth it. So worth it. And we went through and we really broke it down. And now I have this formula that I don't have to, I know about how long it takes to do a certain amount of each part of what I do. And it just goes into this little formula, into this little thing on my phone, and boom, boom, boom. And I've got what I'm paying myself, what the materials were. It just all lines up. I click on the thing to get to the cost of goods. Then I go to the wholesale, and then I double that for retail. And that's what my prices are.
That works great.
It's awesome.
Yeah. The coaches in the VIP program are really amazing. Because what did you enjoy about that?
First of all, I enjoyed how patient they were with me. Can I talk about Chelsea for a minute?
Yes, please talk about Chelsea. Chelsea's our head coach over here. She's amazing. She loves our students so much.
So I
And
know Chelsea probably just thought, where did this woman come from?
she
So the
loves it.
first time she looked at my website, in the really kindest way possible, she said, your website is shit. So I went back and I rebuilt it myself. And then she looked at it again and she was like, ew, let's not even look at it until you finish with laying the foundation. So then I did it again, and was it Jessica or Lauren?
Lauren does the websites mostly.
So then Lauren later on took a look at it, and she just, I got this beautiful email that says, your website really sucks, but not in those words. And she gave me, because I'm on Wix, and I knew it would be way too much for me. I mean, most of your folks are on Shopify, but I knew that I understand Wix. After this much time, I can kind of muddle my way through it. So she gave me three beautiful website options to choose from. And I picked one, and I spent 4 hours trying to redo a homepage. and it did not work. And I thought, what could I have made in the studio in those 4 hours? And then this
Mm.
pop-up came that said, hey, we have people who will actually do it for you. And I decided to bite the bullet and actually pay them. And it was $2,500, which, I've spent a lot of money on my business this year. But I do want to say I have more than made back every cent that I have spent. I'm probably close to triple
Wow,
what
that's
I have
great.
spent on my business this year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Chelsea was great, but I mean, letting you, walking you through stuff that's foreign. Seriously, stuff that is so foreign to me, I didn't even know what buttons to push. They would say it's here, it's there, and then they'd go, it's on the left side of your screen, and I'm sitting there going, okay, well that does me no good because left and right are really hard, and then I'd do this number, and well, they're both L, so that's not going to work, and yeah, anyway.
For anyone who doesn't know what this is what it looks like. This is the left side. This is a mirror image, but this is my left side, and this is
Right. And so then I'd be doing it. But anyway, walking through and, cheering me on. And, I suffer with imposter syndrome,
Mm.
like I think most artists do.
Your work is
And
incredible, though. You realize
I,
that, Laura. You have beautiful pieces.
the longest journey any of us makes is the 12 inches from our head to our heart.
Yeah.
So in my head, I understand that, but in my heart, honestly, Tracy, I'm still that 4-year-old girl with messy hair and a runny nose who's just wet her pants because she couldn't make it in the house. So, I do. I have imposter syndrome. People are going to realize that I'm mostly autodidactic, that I don't have a lot of training, that I have a natural artistic bend. I've bastardized every single technique that I've learned along the way, to make it shorter, faster, and probably sloppier, but
It's working, whatever it
it's
is.
working. So, but I mean, the encouragement was just worth so much.
So I would love for you to share, you kind of mentioned it earlier. What are some of the specific things that you did that you felt like increased your sales by that 700%, then the 300%, then the 400% every single month? In a year when everyone's saying no one's buying, right? People are buying.
Well, first of all, I started emailing people,
Okay.
and that was really difficult for me to
Mm.
build an email, to send an email, to get pictures that looked like something other than dried macaroni with, glitter on it in the images. I mean, it was a lot of work. Writing an email that actually, I mean, because all I wanted to do is, I like making this stuff. If you want it, you can get it. If you don't want it, someone else will get it. I mean, that was kind of my approach to selling.
Yeah.
Learning how to talk to my dream client. I think because I've been an artist for so long, I've understood for many, many years that not everybody is my client, and I don't even want everybody to be my client. But
Mm.
learning how to talk to that person was huge.
Yeah.
I it was I mean, I wish I had known that 35 years ago when I started, because I knew who these people were because I was selling to them at shows, but I never really put them in a reference of sort. So that was huge. So learning to do emails.
And also understanding how to speak to your dream client in those emails.
Oh my gosh, yes, because all I would do before is, here's what's new, and off it would go, and the pictures were crap, and the text was crap, and
Macaroni was brutal.
just awful. So learning all of that was huge, and taking the time to go through the modules. I mean, we all want to get to the end, and we all want the thing now. But again, I realized in the beginning, when it started doing the dream client stuff, I thought, I've never thought this way. I've never had the idea of making sales through this lens before.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really changing. that was really life changing, business changing. One of the things I learned with my work is, and the coaches were great, because one of the things that I think happens is you guys have a formula, but you have to adjust the formula to your business.
Yes.
And, they were saying email people every week. But then when I talked, every single one of the coaches said, yeah, you don't need to email everybody every week because you don't have anything to show.
Yeah.
It takes me weeks, if not months, to get a collection together. They said once, maybe twice a month with pictures of what's happening along the way. Never thought of that.
Yeah.
No, doing videos of the production along the way. That was all new for me, and a lot of learning had to happen with that too. So, like, you have to push the record button when you make a video.
I think that one thing that you should do is start going live on your Instagram more frequently. You have such a hilarious personality. I think it would be really great for your brand. You could just talk about
Okay.
what you're doing. Like, seriously, like, this is hilarious. Like, I've been laughing the whole time.
Well, if you think it's a good idea, I'll do it, because everything you guys have suggested has been, if anybody's wondering, just do it. Just do it and do the VIP. And the other thing too, if I can get kind of advicey, because I'm a great grandmother now. If I can get kind of advicey, because I have a lot of advice, there are no excuses. We all have stuff in our life that's difficult. Learning new stuff is uncomfortable. Who
Mhm.
cares? Who cares? We all have, keeping your eye on the prize. And the other thing too is, if I don't teach anybody anything at all, you don't have to be graceful in this process. You can screw it up all over the place, and it can be fixed. If nobody
Mhm.
died, seriously, if nobody died, it can be fixed.
This is true. That's
So,
great advice. Been talking about the laying the foundation program, just to be clear, because we're just you were saying like the program. What was your favorite part about being in the laying the foundation VIP group?
that is a difficult question because there were so many just diamonds in that. Dawn was the coach that I talked to the most.
Hmm. She runs the
And
group. Yep.
yeah, and sometimes, we would go off on these tangents. I think of her as a friend. I haven't met her in person, but I just adore her. But we would go off on these tangents and we would just laugh. And, you know, the sense of, here's what it is. The coaches don't feel like they're somewhere up here and I'm somewhere down here gasping for air,
Yeah.
trying to swim. The coaches are right here with you
Hmm.
on the same level, and every single coach offered me such brilliant perspectives. Like what you just said now, you should go on Instagram and just, ramble and babble. That wouldn't have come into my mind before. And Dawn would say things, or Chelsea would say things, or Lauren, or Jessica, and they would just say, blah, 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 and it was okay. And I'd write it down and I would try it. So I think the VIP program, because each coach seems very gifted at seemed very gifted at meeting me where I'm at and helping me through. When Lauren looked at my website, she said, we can't even review your website because it's awful. I don't even want to review it until you've built a new one. She said it much nicer than that, and then gave me the templates to use. But being able to meet you at that level and say, you know what, we
Hmm.
can't do this until you do this and this and this. And these are the steps you take in each one of those segments. And I'm going to send you, you can, the call is recorded, or, they would send me the stuff in an email afterwards. So I had it in front of me to go back to
Hmm.
as I built, my business each step of the way. So favorite part, every there wasn't a part that wasn't my favorite part in that.
You just
It
loved
was
it.
just
The
all so,
support, the
yeah,
feedback, the hand
yeah,
holding,
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
just explain a little bit about that. So we have a program called Laying the Foundation over here. It's our signature program that's based on our desired brand effect methodology. And what this really is a program that helps you develop your branding, your messaging, and the foundational aspects of everything that you do to market and sell your products. We go through pricing and collection development and pretty much everything that you need to create a strong and solid jewelry brand. And as a result, what ends up happening is your sales end up growing because you have a cohesive brand that people want to connect with. And the most important part about that is that you actually understand and are clear about who you're marketing to, or as we call them, your dream clients, so that you can laser focus on them and cater your marketing towards them. And one of the things that we developed in the last year was a VIP version of the program to help people who wanted that a little bit extra hand holding or wanted the one-on-one feedback where they could just get on a call with a coach and have someone like Lauren say, we can't even review your website until you have things fixed, instead of you trying to figure out what needs to happen on your own. And so both levels of the program are amazing. The baseline level of Laying the Foundation is incredible, and the VIP level is remarkable for people who like a little bit of extra hand holding. So I want to ask you just two more questions. The first question is, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but what were some of the specific results that happened after taking Laying the Foundation and being in the VIP and in our community for so long?
Well, I have a website that actually works,
Yes.
and it's actually attractive. And I know how to now update and work within the parameters of that website. I have an email list that continues to grow, so that, like right now, I'm working on this collection, and it will drop on my website and also at the gallery on August 17th, but my email people will have two opportunities to shop ahead of time.
Great.
And I've already had two sales
Amazing.
and the website hasn't even gone on the website. So that is a result of the emails. Being able to engage with my clients in a language that is, I think, appealing and attractive, and encourages a conversation instead of just, "Yep, here it is, take it or leave it," kind of a thing, but encourages a conversation and therefore a relationship. One woman found me on Artful Home, and in a matter of 2 weeks' time, she bought 11 pieces.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's
And
significant.
then hit my website, cleared kind of that out, and then she because my old porcelain pieces are now considered collectible, she went to eBay and bought those pieces at a ridiculous price, and we've been texting each other ever since. So, developing relationships, when you're at a show and you're talking, you're on, and developing a relationship with somebody via email or social media where you're really not having that back and forth is a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's so great. And let's talk about your specific sales results, if you could restate them, because I know you mentioned earlier, but it was a little bit out of context. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so
text.
first quarter of this year compared to first quarter of last year, I was up 700%. I mean, my first quarter has never been great, but that's a lot.
Yes.
Second quarter, I was up between 350 and 400%. And the biggest changes, I want to say, because this is what's important, because second quarter, I was already doing Artful Home. So my Artful Home sales were up, but the huge amount of difference was the sales from my website, which I didn't have before.
Wow.
And then last month, just on my website alone, I haven't done the books for last month yet, but just from last month alone, my website sales were up 350%.
That's insane. It's so great.
So, I mean, I've more than made back all of the money. And I sunk quite a bit of money in, and it was worth every penny. And it's beyond my wildest imagination is what it is.
That's so great. And so my final question is, what would you say to someone who might be listening to this episode and is considering investing in themselves in their business, and they're considering laying the foundation?
Just do it. Be Nike. Just do it. I mean, I know it's scary because of the you're looking at the money that you're laying out and you're going, how is that even going to happen? But there was revenue generating things. I mean, I also teach. So one of the things that I did very early on is I took the samples that I make for classes that I don't sell on my website or in the gallery. And I had this Instagram sale and everything sold. And that actually wound up paying for one of the classes.
That's so
And you
great.
guys give these ideas on how to get that revenue. Selling, I have no business buying more gemstones. And so that's another thing, sell old stock. You have old supply. So, I mean, find a way to do it. I would say find a way to do it. It is worth the investment. And the other thing is do absolutely every step of the program, even if if you're thinking, why am I doing this? Because it all does make sense as the program builds. So find a way to do it and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And you can learn new things. I mean, this old dog is learning all sorts of new tricks. So, yeah.
You are such an inspiration, Laura, and you are hilarious. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. Where can everyone find you?
My website is real easy, laurastamper.com. My handles on Facebook and Instagram are Laura Stamper Designs. And if you go to Artful Home, you just plug in my name. I trade on my name. It's Laura Stamper. If you wonder how to spell that, it's Stamper, Stamper.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Tracy.
Program, and you would like to have the same kind of results that Laura did, regardless of where you are on your jewelry business journey. I know how frustrating it can feel to put content out there and try to figure out how to do this marketing thing when you don't clearly know how to message and talk about what you do in a way that is actually going to attract those high quality, high paying customers. So here's your opportunity to dive into this program that has changed the game for so many jewelry business owners. Now, I will have the links in the show notes here, wherever you're watching this. So make sure that you check out Laying the Foundation today. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'm happy to chat a little bit about your situation and answer any questions you have about the program. You can find me over at Tracy Matthews NY, and you can also find me over at flourish_thrive. I check the DMs on both of those handles. So looking forward to supporting you. Also, if you want to, you can write my phone number down and just shoot me a text. Here you go. This is my work phone. Let me pull it up here. Text me at 602-492-1258. And I'm giving out this number for you to ask me questions about laying the foundation or how we can support you in your jewelry business. All right. Thanks so much. It's Tracy signing off. Until next time. Before you go, I wanted to share something near and dear to my heart with you. If you're someone who would like to turn your content into a consistent sales machine and profits, listen up. Laying the Foundation is the program that has helped thousands of jewelry business owners just like you to attract high quality, high value, repeat buyers who buy every season. That loyalty is something that we are experts in. So if your sales are stocked and you're posting content that is not making sales and you feel like your marketing efforts are just a waste of time because neither your audience or your email list nor your sales are growing, well, then this is your time to do something different and break out of your rut to make daily sales the norm. If that's you and you're interested in learning more, head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/LTF. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/LTF, and check out the case studies and the Laying the Foundation program for yourself. I promise it will change your life. Let's do this.